Good afternoon, I'm Allison Godlove. We are live at AGD2023, the premier meeting for general dentistry at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas. I'm just outside where NFL Hall of Famer Jim Kelley will be giving the keynote address. Kelley is an oral cancer survivor, and he's known for his toughness on and off the field. He's going to be sharing that story with attendees right now. Let's listen in.
Kelley tough. And on a personal aside, you know, when I met with him, our Cincinnati Bengals hadn't paid the Buffalo Bills yet, and he still showed up because the Bengals beat him. And then, you know, you find out that he's a graduate of the U, and I'm a lifetime fan of the Ohio State University. And in spite of that, he still showed up to speak for us today. So great sportsman in that sense of the word. I think you're going to be mesmerized by everything he has to share with us today. So without any further ado, would Mr. Kelley please join us up on stage?
The Bills make me wanna shout. Kick your heels up and shout. Throw your hands up and shout. Throw your head back and shout. Come on now, the Bills are making it happen now. Stand up now, come on and shout. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Thank you.
Shout it right now, baby.
Good song.
Come on, come on. Come on and shout.
Before we get started, I just want to give you a little heads up into what I'm going to be talking about today. I can't see any of y'all out there. But my talk tonight is called A Journey of Perseverance. I've been through a lot in my life, good, some bad, and some ugly things. And that's what you'll hear today from back growing up, being to spend time with my family, my brothers, mom and dad, the goals, the dreams that I had, how I wasn't sure what God had planned for me down the road. Because the roller coaster ride, when I thought it was at the top, went to the bottom. And we all go through tough times in our life, but it's the attitude that you have. I learned that from my brothers, I learned it from my father, and I learned it from my son. So today you'll hear a lot of good things, some things that might give you chills, which it just did now because I have an idea and I know what I'm going to share with y'all. But hopefully today when you leave here, you're going to leave with a different attitude, an attitude that you can be a difference maker. It's what you put your mind to. So here we go. Hans, you ready to go on this journey with me?
Let's play ball.
I love it. I love it. Oh, by the way, I don't have very much saliva, so you'll see me every time we stop to give a little, and maybe I'll give you some for your breath. Just kidding.
No, he's not. Jim, let's talk about your younger years, how your journey started and how your parents played a key role during that time in your life.
Well, my parents, I'll start out with my dad. My dad was born and raised in an orphanage. He never knew his parents. They died of polio when he was just a baby, so he spent all of his times around nuns and, you know, sisters in the orphanage. He got to an age where he started reading more about sports, and he thought, maybe if I get married and have some kids, I have some boys, I'll teach them some sports. So he read books on baseball and football and all those things. And as he continued to get older, he was, you know, really getting into it. He liked it. He wasn't much of an athlete himself, but he knew what he wanted to do down the road. And he spent his, you know, younger years as far as the teenage years in the orphanage because he grew up in the orphanage. But after he got to an age where he wanted to join the Navy, so Dad went and he joined up, and he spent several years in the Navy. He got out of the Navy, he met my mother. They fell in love, and they decided to get married and have children, so they did. My dad and mom, they loved each other, Irish Catholic. They started out with a son named Pat, then a son named Ed, and then a son named Ray. And my dad, he worked in the steel mills in Pittsburgh, and he thought, 3 boys, that's enough, because it was just try to make ends meet, try to feed 3 boys, and all of my brothers are all big. So my dad said, no more, and my mother's like, no way. Let's give her one more try for a girl. So they did. They had me. Now they got 4 boys, and my dad's like, no way, no more kids, no more, I can't handle this. My mother, being a stubborn, feisty Irish woman, she said, oh no, one more try for a girl. So she talked Dad into giving her one more try. Twin boys. Now they got 6 boys. My dad finally won. No more kids. It's interesting because as we continue to grow up, and Dad working 3 jobs, my mother working in the cafeteria at the high school, we all wanted to be good enough to take care of Mom and Dad. And of course, we all were athletes. 4 out of 6 of us had football scholarships. We dreamt about playing professional football. And where I'm from, you're big Pittsburgh Steelers fans. And I was a Steelers fan growing up. And I, of course, Terry Bradshaw was my idol. I looked up to him and I said, maybe one of these days I'll be good enough to be able to play in the NFL. Not knowing, because you got to understand, I came from a little small town in Pennsylvania called East Brady. We got 800 people in my hometown, no traffic lights. My graduating class was 65. My football team had 28 players on it. I played quarterback, linebacker, defensive back. I was a punter and I was a kicker. And that's how small our school was. But the thing is, still wanting to, do that. And I remember when I was a little boy, I would drop back when, 10, 11 years old, and I'm leading my team down to Super Bowl to win it, and all these great things that, kids do nowadays, whether it's playing basketball, baseball, football, no matter what it is, you have those dreams of what you want to do. And of course, mine was to lead my team down the field in the Super Bowl. Well, all of a sudden, I get further on in my high school days, and my junior and senior year, I, was being recruited by different teams, and where I'm from, you're either Pitt or Penn State, and I was always a big Penn State fan. But now, it's time for me to pick a college. Where am I going to go and spend 4 years of my life trying to achieve that dream of playing in the NFL?
Yeah, so I mean, you obviously heavily recruited, and you ended up playing at Miami, and it wasn't your first choice. Why did you decide to go down to the U?
Well, as you heard, I wanted to play at Penn State. I mean, I went to his football camp twice. I thought I did enough to show him that I could be a quarterback for Penn State, wearing those ugly, blue, boring uniforms that they wear. But I was a Joe Paterno fan. And I thought, this is where I want to go. And one day 2 weeks before National Signing Date, Penn State called my house and said, Jim, we just want to let you know that we've already signed the 2 quarterbacks that we want, but we'll still give you a full scholarship, but as a linebacker. And I'm like, linebacker? I mean, I played, and I was being recruited by some schools for defense, but I wanted to play quarterback. And I'm thinking, well, my oldest brother, Pat, played, he was a linebacker. He was drafted by the Baltimore Colts. I wound up playing in the World Football League. And so I called him, and we always looked up to him. We still do. And I said, Pat, just want to let you know, Coach Paterno called, and they said that they would love to give me a scholarship, but as a linebacker, what do you think I should do? He said, brother, I have a few words of advice for you. He said, before you board those chartered flights for the away games, he said, the flight attendants never want to know who the linebackers are. They always want to know which one's the quarterback. I go, that's all I need to hear, brother. I'm a quarterback. Click. I hung up. I turned into a quarterback. So I wind up going to the University of Miami, where Lou Saban was the head coach. And he talked me into going there, pro-style offense. He was unbelievable. He was the head coach prior to for the Buffalo Bills. And I'm thinking, okay, go there, play in the NFL. I mean, he was coaching the NFL. This is a perfect spot for me. So I decided to go there. He wound up running the veer offense. And as you all well know, as a lot of you know, some of you might not know, but I was not a running quarterback. So the option was not an option for me. I was looking to transfer, and I was going to transfer to the University of Tennessee. And my brother Pat again said, Jim, I heard Lou Saban was leaving. Now, this was my freshman year. And he said, let's wait and find out if he does and see who they bring in before you say too much about transfer. And I said, okay, Pat. So all of a sudden, he did. He left, and they brought in a coach by the name of Howard Schnellenberger. And with him, he brought in a quarterback coach named Earl Morrill. And I think most of y'all, if you really follow football, know the only undefeated team ever was the Miami Dolphins. Well, Earl Morrill took over for Bob Greasy when he got hurt and played the majority of the season when the Dolphins went undefeated. He was the quarterback. Well, now he's going to be my quarterback coach. Now, finally, I got somebody coming in, a head coach and a quarterback coach that knows the passing game. So now I went from being fourth string, now I'm the backup. Now I'm a red shirt freshman backup. So I'm now second string. We're playing our quarterback. He was horrible. And I'm like, okay, it's just a matter of time before I get that chance to show that I can play quarterback. I'm good enough to hopefully start. Well, we're 3 wins, 4 losses. We're traveling to Penn State to take on the Nittany Lions. The coach and the team that said I was not good enough to play there. So we fly in, we land, we get off the plane. I go have dinner with Mom and Dad. You know, Mom brings the chocolate chip cookies. She makes unbelievable chocolate chip. Well, she did. And my dad, and gentlemen, probably you too, Hans, remember the day when you were growing up, the white socks you used to get, they had the yellow stripes at the top, or the blue, or the red? I couldn't wait to get those, and a couple T-shirts. I mean, we didn't have anything. There's many winter times where we used gloves. Our gloves growing up was white socks, because parents couldn't afford to buy us gloves, so we wore socks when we went sled riding. But now this is the night before the game. I talked to Mom and Dad, and I said, well, hopefully I'll get a chance to show Coach that I can play, hopefully, when we're getting beat. And we were horrible. Penn State was in the top 20. I said, maybe I'll get that opportunity to go in and show them. So here it was, 4 hours next day, 4 hours before the game, pre-game meal. And I'm sitting there finishing up my breakfast, and I get a tap on my shoulder. I turn around, and I looked up, it's Coach Schnellenberger. And he has one of those military, strong voices. Son, come with me, I need to speak with you. I'm like, oh no, what did I do wrong? So as I'm walking away with him, I'm thinking, okay, last week, what did I do last week? No, I didn't do anything. Last night, I did with Mom and Dad. I didn't do anything wrong. Why does he pull me to the side? So I walk off, and he stops. He said, son, I decided you're starting today. I looked at him, I go, what? He goes, I decided that you deserve the opportunity to play. You're starting today. Get ready. Oh, my word. He starts walking away, and I'm walking with him. There was a bathroom right there. I said, Coach, I got to go to the bathroom. I went in there, I threw up for like 15 minutes. And when I throw up, it's loud. I came back out, and he goes, you all right? I go, don't worry, Coach. I did that before every high school football game. He said, okay then, let's go get him. We wind up, I played that game. I got AP Offensive Player of the Week. We beat him 26-10. And we beat the top 10. Now all of a sudden, I'm the starting quarterback. We fly home. Now the spotlight's on me. We're playing now the following week after Penn State game. We're playing Alabama. They're undefeated. We're playing in Tuscaloosa, Paul Bear Bryant. So Keith Jackson, the Hall of Fame announcer back in the day, I'm sure a lot of y'all remembered him. He said, freshman sensation Jim Kelley taking on the undefeated Alabama Crimson Tide right here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, coached by Paul Bear Bryant. I was 3 for 15, 3 interceptions, and I got knocked out cold in the third quarter. My first 4 starts as a freshman quarterback. Now remember, I went to a little small dinky town. Penn State, Alabama, Notre Dame, and Florida. Welcome to big-time NCAA football. Now, fast forward, I'm the starting quarterback. Now it's my senior year, and before the season, I'm up for the Heisman Trophy with John Elway, Dan Marino, Herschel Walker, Eric Dickerson. We're all up for the Heisman Trophy. And I'm thinking, boy, the dream and the goal of making the NFL, taking care of Mom and Dad, and that was me and my brother's dream, was be able to take care of Mom and Dad, because we knew what would put our mother and father through, especially my mother. We fought all the time, and I can honestly say today I have the closest family you can possibly get. Me and my 5 brothers get along. It is amazing. It's a dream come true for me. But as my senior year went on, here we go. Now it's the 3rd game of the year, and we're playing at Virginia Tech. And still that dream, that goals of making it to the NFL. I dropped back to pass against Virginia Tech. all receivers were covered. I decided to scramble. I ran to the right, and I was too slow to get to the sidelines. And what I should have done, I should have, slid, but I didn't. I was running. I thought, these guys think I'm going to run out of bounds or slide. I planted my foot, and I cut back to hopefully thinking I might be able to score. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, because I'm not fast enough to do that. I got blindsided. I landed. My elbow hit the ground. I totally blew up my right arm. The bone almost came out of the skin. It was ugly. 2 days later, that was my last college football game I ever played. 2 days later, I go back to Miami. I'm in Miami. I go in for surgery. I had totally blew it out. When surgery was over and I was able to speak to the doctor, his first words were, "I hope you studied." And I said, "Why is that?" He said, "Because your shoulder was so bad that we had to insert 3 metal rods in your right arm. You may never get the range of motion back, and you probably won't be able to play football again." I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me." And of course, in my mind, automatically, devastated. Mom and dad, not gonna be able to take care of them, the dreams I had. And my dad, when I called him, he said, "Son, don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something." He said, "You can do it. You're a Kelley. You've got that Kelley toughness about you." So I put Mom and Dad's picture in my locker. Had a couple brothers move down to Miami. They worked out with me. I rehabbed more than I can ever think about rehabbing. But now here's the situation. I'm not sure if there's any NFL team now is going to take a chance on a quarterback who just blew out his arm. He wasn't able to throw. I couldn't go to any combines. Is there anybody going to take a chance on me?
Well, so the draft today is totally different than it was back then. And once your college career was over with that shoulder injury in the NFL draft being a big question, what was your mindset at that point?
I wasn't sure. Here it was, draft, as everybody knows now, if you're watching the NFL draft, they wine and dine everybody, they bring in the top people. Well, I was at my agent's house, and we're sitting in front of a little TV and everything, and I'm sitting there, and I'm on a nice juicy recliner. My mother's on the right arm of it, my dad's on the left arm, we're watching. And that's the year John Elway said that he did not want to play for the Baltimore Colts. He said, "If you draft me, I'm going to play baseball for the New York Yankees. I don't want to play for y'all." Well, needless to say, Colts, they drafted him anyways. Now John Elway is drafted, now it goes 2nd, 5th, 8th pick, and I'm not sure what the heck's going on. My agent, he said, "Hey, Jim, is there anybody you don't want to play for?" Now, you got to remember, I went to the University of Miami of Florida. I go, "Oh, yeah, I don't want to play for the Green Bay Packers. I don't want to play for the Minnesota Vikings, and I sure the hell don't want to play for the Buffalo Bills." So here we are, 12th pick. I'm sitting.
And we have one more keyword for you on this AGD Facebook Live. So the keyword for you to know is dentistry. So be sure to email marketingdept@agd.org and send them that clue, dentistry, along with your contact information, so you have a chance to win a $50 Amazon gift card. We're going to be back with you around 5:45. We'll see you then.